Hello, BookTube. I've got a bit of a mail haul. Friday night, so yep. The mail came yesterday, and I had a board of trustees meeting last night. And when I got home to see the mail, the box was brutalized, and the books were fine. So I opened it yesterday. Didn't have a chance to video it, but I wanted you to see what they were. Woke up this morning to snow. Not a ton here at the house, but on my drive to work quite a bit. Just that sort of sugar snow that comes this time of year in Vermont. But anyhow, so this is a mail haul, and the mail comes from Hyde Cottage from Steve Donoghueish and Frida Bean. And very much appreciate it. It's a wonderful, wonderful set of books. You can hear the cooking out there. Is what it is. It's that time of night. So the first thing here is, and I love this. This is The Wanderer by John Masefield. An author I still hear about occasionally. I think actually I heard Sean D. Stanfast mention him the other day. I may be wrong about that, but I think I'm right. This is The Wanderer of Liverpool, John Masefield. It's William Heinemann Limited, London, from 1930. Yes, a very interesting. I like Masefield. This is right in my bailiwick. Has some great black and white photos throughout. Has some poetry. Has some narrative. So it's very nautical. So let's see what they say. The Wanderer of Liverpool, Mr. Masefield tells the story of Potter's fine four-masted bark, 1891-1907. Many hold that the Wanderer was the finest of the many fine big sailing vessels launched in Liverpool the decade of 1890 to 99. That's pepper being ground back there that you can hear. In addition to the prose account, it contains two tales in verse of her setting forth and of her end, some shorter poems of the sea, and the Mask of Liverpool in verse. So very happy to have this. A beautiful edition from 1930. So thank you, Steve. Then another nautical book about a maritime mystery that I'm very familiar with and been reading about since I was a young person. This is Mystery Ship, the Mary Celeste in Fancy and in Fact by George S. Bryan. Beautiful thing. I don't know if I can get the glare off here. I have not read this one. Here's the end papers. And this, let's see. So it's on an anniversary for J.B. Lippincott Company out of Philadelphia, New York, 1792 to 1942. And this is from 1942. It's the first edition. Beautiful thing. Like I say, I have not read it. Famous as the greatest mystery ship of all time, the Mary Celeste has probably aroused more interest among sailor folk and landlubbers than any other vessel since Noah's Ark. Mary Celeste was a brigantine under American registry, captained by Benjamin Briggs of Marion, Massachusetts, which in 1872 was found abandoned 300 miles off the coast of Portugal. According to the New York Journal of Commerce of March 14, 1873, there was nothing in or about the vessel to furnish a hint of the reasons why she was forsaken. The ship, said the journal, was as sound as on the day when she sailed, had canvas set, and only needed a man at the wheel to have sailed smoothly into port. So, Mary Celeste, and some of you will know about this story, so I'm thrilled to have this. Then, A Feeling for Books, the Book of the Month Club, Literary Taste and Middle Class Desire, by Janice Radway. And this really looks interesting. Now, growing up, the Book of the Month Club was a very big deal in my household and throughout the country. This is University of North Carolina Press, Chapel Hill in London. and this is from 1997. So yeah, like I say, the Book of the Month Club, I think it still exists, maybe not quite as culturally prominent as it was. And here, well, here's Clifton Fadiman. Some of the editors were just Dorothy Canfield Fisher, who was a Vermont person. And then right here, William Zinsser, who wrote some writing books that were fantastic. So a history of the cultural impact of the Book of the Month Club. And this will go in my books on books, and we'll get we'll move up on the TBR and bypass some other books. So thank you for that, Steve and Frida. Then, so as many of you know, Steve's been here many times. He knows my shelves pretty well. I will go and get incomplete sets of books. Done it many, many times. Most of the time I manage to complete those sets. And I don't do it online usually. I usually do it in person, but occasionally I've done it online. And he knew, because he has a great memory, I guess, that I had James Thomas Flexner's George Washington, Volume 1 through 3. And I've been waiting to find a Volume 4. And there you go. So now I have the complete set. So this is Anguish and Farewell, 1793 to 1799. This is a monumental work. Little Brown and Company out of Boston and Toronto. Excuse me, 1969, 1972. And the other volumes that I have upstairs, and this will go with them. So right now I'm finishing up, I think, the last volume of Dumas Malone's multi-volume biography of Thomas Jefferson. And I will move from that. I always have a set like this going that I'm reading, and I do it at a steady pace. This will be next. So the first one's The Forge of Experience. The second is The American Revolution. The third is The New Nation. So, and this is the fourth. And these are quite the productions. They're beautifully done pieces of history. These types of images throughout the volume. Let me see if I can find another one just right off. There's Mount Vernon in winter. It's quite a pretty photograph. So very, very happy to have this. And then the final volume, and this is one Steve and I actually discussed back and forth. It's a particular interest of mine. I've read a book on the subject by James L. Nelson. I've read plenty of books that this takes part in, or becomes part of the narrative. But in this case, it's focused on, and that's Valcor, the 1776 campaign that saved the cause of liberty, and it did. Now, I'm a big fan of Nelson's book, and this one's by Jack Kelly. Nelson's was a few years ago. This is St. Martin's Press, New York. And this is a first edition, and it is, I would think this year, let me see. They put some in, 2021 first edition. Okay. So here's Lake Champlain, which is the western border of Vermont and the eastern border of upstate New York. And that portion of Vermont's quite beautiful, but that portion of upstate New York is also stunning. We love going over there. So we have Benedict Arnold, Horatio Gates, Philip Schuyler, and Guy Carleton, little cameo type images. And Valcor is where Arnold created a fleet on Lake Champlain, which is quite a massive lake. It's not one of the Great Lakes, but it would be that tier, next tier below a Great Lake. And it was really a big, I don't know, how would you call it? It was where a lot of activity in the Revolutionary War up and down took place. Ticonderoga, the fort at the bottom of the lake, was considered the most important fort in the Americas. So, it's an interesting story. Arnold creates a fleet, and he doesn't win the naval battle. But as a very brave and audacious holding action until winter sets in, really did play a huge. It had a huge impact on the Revolutionary War. So it's a wonderful, wonderful story. I don't know. I heard some things from Steve about this. I'm going to read it, and then I get to talk to him about it again. So hopefully he'll be up here soon. We can always have our fingers crossed. We miss him and being tremendously. So yeah, this is a great addition. I'm rambling on. So this is a great addition to the library here for me, as is all of this, and this really completes the set, which is just thrilling. And Steve assured me that he did not break up the standing set, that it was a long volume. Not that I would care, I got my book, right? So we have The Wanderer by John Masefield. We have Mystery Ship, The Mary Celeste in Fancy and Fact. Just right up my alley, these. Masefield actually may get a quick read here, but I mean, just wonderful to have that. A Feeling for Books, the Book of the Month Club, Literary Taste and Middle Class Desire. George Washington by James Thomas Flexner. Volume 4 to complete my set. And Valcor, the 1776 campaign that saved the cause of liberty by Jack Kelly. We'll see how he did. And this is the Steve Pyramid. I'm thrilled to have all these, so thank you, Steve. And hope everybody has a good weekend, and cheers, and we'll see you soon, BookTube.